Hey everyone, Mike here. Thought I'd do a orchard and garden update. It's been a long time. As you know, or maybe you don't know, is we had a late frost here. It was actually after the last frost date, and we took some hits, but we did cover all our tomatoes and our peppers and everything that we could. We covered. And the blackberries really took a hit. If you look, you can see they're not as thick as last year. And wherever, some of them actually died all the way, and wherever they were at, I actually cut them down to the ground and new shoots came up. Now I'll just leave them that way. But I took a big hit. We had mint and some other things, herbs planted at the time, and they took a hit too, but they're coming back. We planted 3 new apple trees. I don't remember. One of them is Golden Delicious. One of them is, what do they call it? Granny Smith. And the other one, I can't remember what it is. But this year we put Job's fertilizer sticks in the ground. I used a big 18-inch long auger. I auged into the ground and I put them in and I buried them. And this year the tree is just, I mean, full of apples everywhere. I mean, this is the biggest apple haul we've ever had. Last year I think we got maybe a dozen apples out of this tree. This year we got like 300 of them. And you see the leaves are turning yellow. And I'm wondering it's because those Job's fertilizers just wasn't enough. I'm going to throw some more fertilizer on these trees, see what happens. But both apple trees are loaded with apples this year. Or maybe this is normal. I don't know if this is normal for the leaves to do this. But you can see there's apples everywhere, and even on this tree. This, I think this one's a Fuji. That's our plum tree. There's nothing on that. I trimmed them all off. They never does very well. That's our new peach tree. We planted that last fall. And you see it's loaded up with peaches. Now I spray everything every night, or not every night, every Sunday night. I come out here and I spray all the things you're supposed to be spraying on these fruit trees and vegetable gardens to keep the bugs and pests at bay. Everything I spray is organic. We got some plums over here. And this tree is supposed to be 3 variety tree. It's supposed to be plums, apricots, and peaches. We've never got apricots. But this year, we got apricots. And I think it's due to those Job's fertilizer sticks. I think they really made a big difference when we put them in November. And we put them again in the spring. I think it's making a big difference. I've been adding sulfur to the blackberries. And these are looking really healthy this year. I mean, last year these were just full of rust, of red rust. And I think the reason they're not this year is because, like I say, every Sunday now I've been pretty consistent with spraying something on everything here to keep the pests off, keep the funguses off. But they're not that loaded up with blackberries. Again, these took a big hit in the frost, which you don't see. Is probably a good third of these blueberry bushes were dead. They got killed by the frost. See, they turned out like this here, right? And a lot of the buds fell off. That's our asparagus patch. That'll be good for next year. That could be its 3rd year next year. Our figs are coming back up. And this is my garden expansion. All that where the sweet corn is. And all this is all new. I got nothing growing in this one. Strawberries over here. I suppose we've taken out strawberries every 2 or 3 days for about 4 weeks. Now they're starting to bud. Some of them are starting to bud out. I think these are Juneberry. Juneberry, what do you call them? But this was a lot of work getting this up and running. As you see, there's a lot of bare spots in here. That's because we've been eating everything out of here. We've been eating cabbages, red cabbage, broccoli. We've got broccoli blanched and frozen, kohlrabi. These were all different types of lettuces, and I still got more lettuces growing. I got peppers. I got 5 varieties of peppers. They're right here. I put marigolds in between them. They seem to be warding off the pests a little bit. I got more lettuce right there. Some cabbage right there. Late cabbage. Carrots, that's the best I've ever seen carrots grow here. They only get 2 or 3 inches high and they die on me. Again, you'll see bare spots through here too. We took all that stuff out. All my tomatoes. Look at the size of those tomato stems. I mean, they're huge. They're like that all the way down. And I think I used Dr. Earth in the hole. What I did is each hole I augered out. And I put a cup of rabbit manure, compost, and Dr. Earth with and some lobster and crab calcium. These are all my watermelons. I got 4 varieties of watermelons. And on the end down there is my bush acorn squash. I got some beans that came up. They didn't have a very good germination. So all I did is, they look way in the back there. You'll see a tray that's got a full of green beans. I started them indoors this time. I'll transplant them. Here's the corn. All this stuff, this small spot here is G90. I planted those after I planted these. I started these from inside too, from seed trays. I did this last year for this corn variety, and I did it over there, if you remember. But there's, 250 plants, 250 corn stalks sitting here. And I spray these guys with spinosad every 3 days or after a rainstorm. That keeps all the bugs off it. I don't remember from last year, we got the corn that we grew. It was completely bug-free. Not a single worm, nothing. It was perfect. But they're growing. They grew. You know, they're not very tall. I mean, you look at me, and you look at the corn, and it's really not that tall. And it did that last year. Though by the time the corn starts growing into nice big ears, they'll be about 5 feet high is all they'll be. But I'll have big, huge ears of corn. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. That's another peach tree. Planted that one this year when we planted the apple trees. Planted another peach tree right there. No peaches on it this year. That's okay though. See the jalapenos back there? We've been picking jalapenos. I got Hatch peppers, Craig's jalapenos. I've got California Wonder. I've got a couple other varieties in there too. That's iceberg lettuce. First time that I've ever had iceberg lettuce actually grow. Rhubarb, that's from seeds from my sister-in-law, Judy, from up north in northern Minnesota. They don't grow very well down here because of the heat, but I'm trying. Like I said, we've been eating a lot out of this thing. We've had fresh greens for weeks now. And these are the late cabbages. These are the 90-day cabbages. You can see we already picked one today. And I put some more lettuce in there where one of the cabbages died on me. I picked that one today. Got some more here. And these are all my sweet potatoes. Those are 20-gallon grow bags. Last year, if you remember right, I grew the sweet potatoes right there in the ground, and though I got like 96 pounds or 116 pounds, I can't remember, one of the two, of sweet potatoes, they were kind of buggy. Anyway, I'll walk over to the other garden. Can you hear the thunder in the background? We got another storm coming. So the next 5 days we're supposed to have rain and storms. I mean, last week we had rain and storms for about 4 or 5 days straight, and the ground was so wet, so soggy that you couldn't do anything out here. I went out here with my waterproof boots on between the rainstorms to check on everything, but you can't do anything when the ground is like a sponge. So those are French fingerling potatoes they got from Azure. They eyed up on me right away, so I decided I'd just plant them. More rhubarb. If you remember, this whole bed was garlic and only one came up. I have no idea what I did wrong. I think it's the garlic I got. I got it from town. I should have got it from some other source. That tomato plant at the end, that's a seed that came up with the peppers. It was in the pepper bag, and it came out as a tomato, and I'm growing it just to find out what it is. I got potatoes growing here. They're doing really good. Again, I spray all this stuff every Sunday night. And I got 4 varieties of potatoes growing in there. It's just the way it turned out. I got some good Idaho spuds from Gurney's, and then some of those potatoes are eyes from Azure, and some of the potatoes were left over from last year. And these are my onions. They're coming in. I did not plant them last November like everybody else does around here. I planted them in the spring. I grew them inside and planted them in the spring. I just like to have them come out a little later so they last a little longer. I'll probably plant some in November this year, but this time I'll do it out there in the no dig. Anyway, our pecan tree, and that's the homestead.